So back to Santa Fe, New Mexico, where opening arguments in Alec Baldwin's case is the manslaughter trial. They are set to begin any moment now. You're looking at a live photo. He's accused in the shooting death of the cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of his movie Rust. Baldwin could get 18 months in prison if he's found guilty. The special prosecutor speaking to Fox yesterday.
We're just here to present our evidence, and we are going to do that, and we are going to respect whatever decision the jury makes.
And you believe your case is a strong one, then?
I'm going to present my evidence. I don't have an opinion.
Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Brian Claypool, because this is getting underway, Brian, and you have an interesting point that you want everyone to be thinking about as this case gets underway. Let's give you the floor.
Yeah, hey, Dana. Yeah, so in an involuntary manslaughter case, it's not enough just to prove that Alec Baldwin was negligent or he was careless or reckless. The prosecutor has to also prove what's called legal causation. And that's going to be a hard haul. Why? Because that means that the prosecutor has to prove that Baldwin's conduct was a substantial factor in causing the death of Hutchins, that standing alone, Baldwin pulling the trigger caused her death. New Mexico adopts what's called the but-for test. But for Baldwin pulling the trigger, Helena Hutchins dies. Unfortunately, that's not the case here, because you have to have Hannah Gutierrez-Reed putting in that live bullet into the gun, and that's really what caused her death. And usually you don't have 2 or 3 people charged with murder or reckless handling of a gun. And if I'm Baldwin's lawyer, I'm putting Hannah Gutierrez-Reed on trial and saying, look, she's solely responsible for making sure there's not a live bullet in that gun.
Huh. So he said he thought it was cold, meaning it wasn't loaded. And this is the moment that he was speaking to sheriffs at the scene on that day.
You were in the room when the lady, when
I
someone
was
was
the one
shot?
holding the gun, yeah.
Mr. Baldwin, who's the director on scene?
The guy that was shot. I'm happy to stay right here and do everything we need.
Well, my lieutenant just wants you to stay away from everybody and not to talk to nobody, so I was...
Wait right here.
He pretty much admits that he was there and he was on the scene, but he's also said that he cocked the hammer and not the trigger. And we had this picture with Judge Dean yesterday.
Good point, Bill.
And we were looking at this thing. I was like, wow, the index finger looks pretty close to the trigger. And I don't know what you thought of that bit of evidence.
Yeah, that's a great point, Bill. I mean, that's going to be the prosecution's case, right? Their case is twofold. Number one, this was a reckless scene, right? You have the OSHA report, Bill. Remember that? Where it details how careless the scene was handled, not a lot of training with using guns, including Baldwin. And then you've got this issue of did he pull the trigger or not? I mean, the prosecutor's going to argue, yes, showing that video is going to help the jury, determine that he likely did pull it. But then again, Baldwin's lawyers have some testing that shows that there were some marks on the gun that suggests that it might have been an inadvertent discharge of the gun. They're going to argue that it discharged without Baldwin pulling the trigger. But look, at the end of the day, Baldwin's lawyers have to argue, even if Baldwin pulls the trigger, the death does not occur but for Hannah Gutierrez-Reed failing to do her job, and Dave Halls, who was an assistant producer who also pled guilty, he also failed to look in the gun and make sure that there's no live bullet in that gun.
Brian Claypool, this is just getting underway. You're looking at live pictures. The jury has been seated. The opening statement's about to get underway. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sure we will touch base with you as this case continues. Appreciate you.
You bet. Thanks so much. Good seeing you guys.